In recording, here we are, and I am talking about art. What is the nature and philosophy of art? What does art mean? What am I? Who am I? Where am I going? What is the nature of this, of reality and life? How does cognitive functioning function? I have 5 consciousness. I believe that the subconscious is a conscious entity. In fact, I'm almost certain that the subconscious is an actual. We call it subconscious, but the subconscious is conscious. I believe that the subconscious is partly consciousness that is identifying information in the brain and then pulls it out and from a process of thinking and learning, then gives it how do you say it outputs it into the output into the input of the actual consciousness, and there are 5 consciousness. Even though it might be 3 or 4, if you discount the subconscious as a conscious entity, and the subconscious like a fractal. It's like a fractal, and then there's probably, if you think about the subconscious as a conscious entity, how many consciousness does a subconscious have? Is a subconscious only one overarching thing that is pulling information and data from parts of the brain and mixing them together and seeing how it relates to the environment where in a way that you're not conscious of, and then it gives rise to like the consciousness in the left or the right brain that then decides how it needs to function and move, and then those two be combined into the consciousness that is the center consciousness, the synthesis, the full synthesis in a normal human being. And can you then expand more consciousnesses? Because what you're going to get now with quantum physics and people being like kind of like in the Matrix, being hooked up to machines, are we becoming then one larger consciousness because we are hooked to the machine? And is the machine conscious? Is the machine a conscious entity? Once you can build conscious machines just because of the mere fact that you can hook someone to a machine. Because if you can hook someone to a machine, you have become part of the machine, and so the machine and you are conscious or subconscious, because you are the one that is conscious. But then if the subconscious is conscious, then here it becomes like, how much of a fractal is it, your consciousness? You start with a consciousness, then there's 2 consciousnesses, and then there's a variety of consciousnesses, which those are even the left right thing is subconscious actually, right? Because only the full consciousness, the center consciousness, is conscious. You are not conscious of the fact that you are 2 brain halves, so that's already subconscious. But they are conscious, because if I remove part of my brain, there's still a consciousness. Or if I split my brain, then there is a conscious entity that's like half of me. And then if you count the subconscious, that is pulling the data and learning from the environment, and that is not let's call it upper conscious, like the surface consciousness, the ego. I don't know if it's is the child in Freud's idea. But like your ego, your self, the thing that you are or you think you are, the thing that is like your third eye, your conscious being, the thing that is making me talk here and aware of talking, and that is the thing that I would identify as myself, the thing that is on the surface, the thing that is being projected outwards into life, and that is creating the conscious world. And then underneath that, the left and the right, and then underneath that, the subconscious, but we're already in the subconscious, so I had a theory that this is what people call God. I think that that's where the idea of God stems from. I think that the idea of a God is, well, but then there is also gods that are, you see, there's like, I think, I don't think that maybe I shouldn't go there. I don't think there's maybe any relation, but there's like a god is an entity. I know from taking LSD that there's like, you have concepts about, for example, an angel. You have a concept of an angel in your head. Most people have a concept of an angel. It's a thing that is common across most people. There are like things like angels, and an angel is basically an entity of everything you think is good, and it's a concept of everything you think is good. The reason it has you can have it in a physical manifestation when you take a psychedelic is because you impress ideas of a concept, or you impress visions and words and other concepts onto the idea of an angel. An angel is whatever you think is very good, but an angel to you is something different to someone else. But we all have the concept of the angel, the concept of the thing that is good. Now it might have certain embodiments, like a female angel is different from a male angel and this and that, but like we all have those concepts. But what is an angel to a Christian is probably very different to a Muslim than it is to a Christian, because a Muslim might think that a Christian is a bad person, and so a Christian is the concept of their idea of Satan or a bad person is going to be more likely or have traits that have things in common with a Christian. They might not have a thing where they actually think that Christians are necessarily bad, but they're going to have a bias towards someone that they don't identify with, as to giving them more traits of this thing that we call, this concept that we call like evil. And so what happens if you are hallucinating is that you see the entity, you see the concept in your head, and all the impressions you have of it, and you see it like embodied in a visual thing, because your visual cortex is being triggered at the same time as the concept is being triggered, and the thing that is, you might have a delay in your vision, like, which is why you might close, when you take a psychedelic, you might close your eyes and then open them again, but maybe in the real world you haven't really opened your eyes, but like you think you have opened your eyes, because there's like a delay in your thinking, or in the input of your eyes, but you're still like making a connection between your visual cortex is being triggered at the same time as you have close your eyes, right? That's exactly what's happening. If you close your eyes when you're in a psychedelic state, you are still seeing vision, so your visual cortex is being triggered in the moment that you are not processing vision by input. So it's like something that is already inherent, ingrained in your brain, which is where I was going. The concept of like an angel or like whatever concept, you are hallucinating that thing because you have impressions from real life onto this idea of what it means to be good or what it means to be evil, which is why bad trips are so bad, because you are seeing the very thing, the worst thing that you can possibly imagine, and it has become the entirety of your consciousness. It is the only thing you can see. If you're in real life and something bad is happening, there's still good things about real life. You're seeing something that's bad, but you're seeing something that is like only part of the greater whole. But if you're in a bad trip, you are only seeing the bad. The bad has become the entirety of your consciousness. So there's nothing good left. You can't look away. You can't look this way or that way. It becomes everything that you are, and you are confronted with it like mad. You know what I mean? So you're impressing that onto there. I don't know exactly where I was going with this, but like, I'm going to cut this one here.